I'm going to play this video clip in just a minute. This is Art Laffer on Varney and Company criticizing the $1,000 per family or per person bailout that's proposed. But first, I just want to tell people why I am not panicked at all, except by the panic I see around me. I'm 76 years old, and I caught the Hong Kong flu in 1968. I was 25 years old, and that flu was terrible. It put me on my back for probably 5 or 6 days, high fever, and all that. And I eventually recovered. But for perspective, 1 million people in the world died of the Hong Kong flu. This current coronavirus has killed, at the latest count, 8,000. Now that's going to go up. But just to do the math, 8,000 is 0.8% of 1 million. It's less than 1% the number of deaths that the Hong Kong flu caused. Then, in 1973, when I was just almost 30 years old, I got the London flu. And that was another horrible experience for me. Again, down on my back for about, I think, 4 days. It just went on and on, temperature 102, 103. And finally, my girlfriend came over and took me to Kaiser Hospital in Bellflower. And I'll never forget, we walk in there. I had Kaiser insurance through the county health department. I was working for the health department as a health inspector. And anyway, the place was mobbed to the extent, sick people. Everybody's sitting around in a big waiting room, sick as hell, coughing, and obviously suffering from the same flu I had. So I went down the road and found a private doctor, not very far. No wait. I mean, that's how things were. Even with the flu going on, I could go to a private doctor, no appointment, and within a short period of time, I got some antibiotics. Now, I know they're not supposed to work, but they did, or I was probably getting over the flu anyway, and I started feeling better. Now, for perspective, the London flu killed 57 people in California the first week of 1973, and it killed 2,000 people in the United States. So, and then if you look at other numbers, I've had the flu a number of times over my lifetime. Hopefully, maybe I'm immune now. But of course, the virus has changed, so you really can't have an immunity for something brand new. But, excuse me for not hyperventilating. This is so much in terms of numbers, and I'm looking at the same thing you all are. All the closures. I'm a club member at 24 Hour Fitness, and that closed. And McDonald's, it's only drive-through now. So, just the thing that it's like people, it's sort of a self-inflicted wound, all this hype and hysteria. And every time somebody dies, it's just on the TV and all these closures and the masks. That to me is a lot more frightening and unsettling than the coronavirus, which by comparison is just ordinary, except for the hype. There is nothing in the numbers, in the math, and other than, of course, you see, it's up another 100, up 200, and if you were to count every time somebody had a heart attack or was killed in a car accident, it would be, car accidents. There's 100 people are killed, roughly 100 people every day in the United States. Now, why don't we all just, get off the road? I mean, it's dangerous. People get killed. So anyway, and well, here's, as a 76-year-old, this is another upsetting thing, that the governor here wants to make us all stay home. And I'm not going to do that. I mean, what crime have I committed? And if I'm the one that's vulnerable and not anybody else with this particular virus, young people don't get it. Well, then why shouldn't I be allowed to make that decision? I mean, this is fascist. Anyway, let me play this. Here we go.
Sachs says in the second quarter will contract, shrink 5%. What's your number for the second quarter, April, May, June?
Well, it's going to be a large down, but let me just say this is not demand destruction. This is supply destruction that has happened. Kids going back to school, out of schools, all of the production facilities shut down. It's not a demand problem we're facing, Stuart. It really is a supply problem. And let me go back to the one, if I can. If $1,000 per family is good, why not make it $10,000 or $20,000? Then we'd have $2.5 trillion, $5 trillion going to the families to stimulate demand for which there is no supply. We need to bring production back in. We need to get control of this disease right away and bring people back. That's what you got to do, Stuart.
I'm sorry,
I've been involved in these crises now since 1950 in the very inner circles, and this isn't going to work.
It's not look, may I just say the opposite? It's not a supply problem.
Please.
There's plenty of supply if you open the stores and people can go and buy jeans and sweatshirts
Well, that's right, but they're
shoes.
not. They're closing the stores, they're closing the schools, they're closing the restaurants, they're closing the cruise ships, they're closing the airlines.
Demand.
All of those are being closed and not supplying the services. No matter how much you want to fly, there are no planes flying.
You can't demand if you can't go to the store to demand it. Okay, we see things opposite, and that's a fact. But will you put a number on it? The second quarter.
Supply, you can't go to the store because they're shutting it down.
April,
and
May,
if you can't go
June.
there, you can want to get groceries as much as you want, but they're not there for you.
Okay, one quick one.
Okay, that's all. I'll just add one more thing. I presented my point of view that you've just heard to some family people and friends, and most of them are very dismissive, or they look at me like I'm really crazy, like somebody said I was in denial, and that is absolutely not the case. In fact, if I ask a few questions, they don't even want to hear what I have to say about the math and the difference. And it's not unusual that they don't even know the numbers. They can't. You can say, well, how many people have died in the world? And, I don't know. And so anyway, the whole thing is it's crazy. Okay.